Mysterious, cold, cruel, and super handsome, villains are really the best. We all have that dark side inside us that we would love to embrace but can't because we don't want to end up in prison. So it's nice to see someone else do the things that we can't. I'm not saying that I want to kill someone, but maybe taking an eye or a leg would satisfy me. That's okay, right? Anyways, here I have a list of manhwas where the main character is a villain. The Red King, the ruler of the Demon Lord's domain, the first Sirius, is an overpowered being envied by all, even the heavens. Their jealousy grew deeper and deeper until they decided to remove the source of that jealousy. Humiliated, stripped of all his power, exiled from his home, and finally killed. The great Sirius took his grudge with him to his grave. 500 years passed and the Demon Lord reincarnated. The heavens, the gods, and their human children, all of them are his enemies. I am Sirius and you will all perish, burned by the fire of my rage. Humanity is done for, thank you O gods for your wisdom and genius decision-making skills. Seth Kwon is a natural fighting prodigy and the MC of this Korean webtoon. It's not just that he is good at it, he also loves it. It makes his blood rise every time his fists crush someone's face. After leaving a kid half dead, his mother made him promise to never fight again. Ever since then his classmates started believing he was a pushover and the senseless bullying began. The monster rose again when he received a message. The father he never met just passed, but he was always watching over him from the very beginning. Stop getting your ass kicked, he wrote and Seth awakened. He inherited the Yakuza faction his father was the head of, along with the most successful company of all Korea. Just imagine the damage that a rich untouchable overpowered rampaging beast will do. Now above the law, free from his promise, and with an overwhelming amount of pumped-up rage boiling inside of him, imagining the resulting explosion is giving me goosebumps. Oh, and last detail, the most powerful man in Korea is now a 17-year-old brat. This manhwa's main character, Fang Yuan, is a villain. He died during his first life and reincarnated, not into the future, but 500 years into the past. He kept the memories of all his battles, his body still remembered how to fight. All his wisdom, his refined skills, and his shrewdness followed him to his new life. He is bound by nothing, not even morals. Ruthless, merciless, and cruel, he uses his wits and manipulation skills to rule over the battlefield. Cries of suffering and screams of despair, terrible sounds that would make any man fall into hopelessness, are only music to his ears. Music to entertain the game he plays with his breathing pawns. The main character of this Korean manhwa was suddenly transported in a game-like environment with the task to save this new world from destruction. He was granted an ability, he is the weakest player of the game with the lowest level possible. No chance of survival. Fortunately, he is more cunning than meets the eye. He came across a warrior and deduced that he was a regressor. The perfect meat shield around. Let's make use of him. Using his immense manipulation skills and his intellect, he now has the real hero of this story dancing in the palm of his hands. By making him believe he is working to save the survivors and this fantastic world, the hero does his bidding. In reality, he is only building an empire where the main character reigns through subtle tyranny. How can someone be that naive? The entire camp is terrified of him, but the overpowered hero looks up to him. During Gan Jinha's first life, his entire family died in a terrible accident, and he committed suicide. During his second life, he was known as the terrifying Red Demonic Master, ruler of Zhongyuan. He was deceived by the only person he called a friend and died by his hands. Now it's his third life, we are in the 1st century and Gang Jinho wants to have a normal life this time around. But bad habits die hard, and the previous lord won't bow his head to anyone. A bump in the shoulder means death, any kind of disrespect means days of torture, and that's what you call a normal life. Bullied for years, in the cruelest ways possible, Jung-ho finally gave up on life. Too much of a coward to take it, he resorted to self-harm, and when that wasn't enough anymore, he turned to prey. But not to the god that abandoned him, but to any demon that was willing to listen. To his surprise, and ours as well, an archdevil called Mephisto appeared and made him an offer. Power in exchange for his soul. Now we have a damaged kid who isn't just looking for revenge, he wants blood and a lot of it. He who laughs last laughs the longest. Yun Jae's life was a happy one until he lost the ones he cherished the most in a terrible accident. After the death of his daughter and wife, his life had no more meaning. slowly losing himself in depression. He was about to give it all up. At that moment, a diary appears before him. Looks like it was written by himself, but not the current him from the future. I can bring back my family. That's what the diary was saying. He will receive an invitation to a game. This game will be set in a parallel world. The winner of the game will be able to make a wish, and reviving dead people is a piece of cake. While any normal person will at least doubt this information, Yun Jae clung to the only ray of hope he had left. Armed with the knowledge of the future, he will destroy anyone that stands in front of his victory. Cruelty, dirty moves, manipulation, any method is okay if it means seeing the faces of his loved ones once more. Tombs started popping up all around the world. Inside those tombs are relics that can grant you power beyond your imagination. If you dare to venture into one of them, either you die or you come out rich and overpowered. As a result, a new career orientation was created, tomb raiding. Among them was one that was shrewder and more talented than all others. Betrayed by his boss, he watched his whole team get devoured before his eyes. One leg severed and a giant snake in front of him. It was supposed to be the end for him as well. That's what we all thought until a relic made his apparition and brought him back to the past, to a time where tombs didn't exist yet. To take his revenge against the world, the MC is seeking all the world's relics. Knowing where they are going to appear and how to solve their riddles, he is on the road to becoming an actual god amongst humans. Not only is he greedy, but his hate against a person that wronged him also made him turn his back on humanity. Instead of preventing the disasters to come, he initiates them to get what he wants. Mysteriously, all girls fall in love with his twisted and cruel personality. So, not only does he get power, but multiple girlfriends as well. I'm turning into an evil person right that instant. Cliché would be the description of this Korean manhwa. But no good recommendation list would be complete without one. The main character fell asleep after finishing reading a novel. When he opened his eyes, guess where he found himself? You all got it right? He was in the novel in the body of the villain. Knowing what his ultimate fate would be if the story continued to unfold smoothly, he started coming up with ways to ensure his survival. The first step, turn the villain into a useless minor character. One problem, the previous owner already did quite a lot of damage. Personally, I would say, don't ruin our story, there is no plot. If the villain disappears, think of the readers. No one ever hears of sacrifices for the greater good nowadays. The law is not flawless. Personally, I would say it's somewhat unfair. And I am not the only one who thinks so. What do you think? This Korean manhwa tells the story of a citizen who decided to become the law itself. The current laws are no good, so he will create the perfect system. Just how arrogant can you be? The vigilante that protects the streets is terrorizing the population, taking the lives of anyone he deemed unworthy to live. When a mere human starts playing God, only bloodshed will follow, Death Note style. Well, that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed this video on Manhwa, where the main character is a villain. I know I did. I have a lot of binge reading ahead of me. And I'm sure you do too. I'm sure your list just expanded out, or who knows, maybe you're all caught up. And when you complete all of the manhwa mentioned on the list. But anyways, if you think that we missed anything on this list, then be sure to leave a comment down below. Don't forget to like the video if you like it and subscribe to the channel for more manhwa content like this. Anyways, I'll catch you later. See you in the next one.